live stream. I'm going to start doing a little bit of testing with this. I really want to get more into streaming. It's just that my internet's been so crap so far that I've not really done it. However, I know that I should, could, would like to. I remember what I'm doing. So we're on Coastal Highway right now, and I am trying to get back to my home, my base, and I've chosen, as my base, I've chosen Jackrabbit Island. 6 hours of daylight left. Okay, we've got enough food. I've just got a shit ton of meat. Masses of meat. So I've harvested from a deer and a wolf, 2 wolves, and that's made me extremely heavy, so I'm up to 50 kilos, and I'm in a spot where there are wolves. So at the moment I'm just trying to get back home. Home is Jackrabbit Island on Coastal Highway. I think I came in here because I was cold. I'd stripped off the clothes. I'm going to do it again. I am of course playing on Stalker mode. This is the kind of... Basically I've done a second series. I haven't uploaded that to my channel yet. I have recorded it all. I'm sort of halfway through processing those videos and uploading them. I'll be releasing them over the next 3 to 4 weeks. 2 a week. It's a 10-part series. It's the... I'd really love it if you watched it. I found it the most exciting game on any title I've had for years, and that's a big deal. It was the toughest start I could have possibly had. Didn't have a rifle, didn't have a hatchet, didn't have pretty much anything for a very long time. But we managed to survive anyway, and it's sort of my escapades, trying to make it. So that was a desolation point start. I thought that was a really interesting little way to play the game, to mix it up and make it a little bit different. So I'm just... Alright, I've got to be careful about warmth. It's -11 because we have the clothes off. There is a wolf up ahead. We have 2 options. We're carrying a ton of meat. We could of course try to take him out. I'm going to play with the bow as much as I can. I do of course have bullets in the rifle, and my rifle's in very good condition, but I don't want to use it unless I have to. And in general, I want to get better with the bow anyway. So in terms of where we've been and what we've done so far, excuse me, we started in Desolation Point. We then made it to Coastal Highway. We had to get here next. However, on Coastal Highway we still didn't have a rifle, we still didn't have a hatchet. I think we may not have even had a storm lantern, or maybe we found it here. So we were really struggling. We couldn't take on, we had no weapons, we couldn't take on any animals. So it was just sort of basic survival. So I headed over to Mystery Lake as the sort of next best thing. And yeah, and then we had a bit of luck there. And I kind of ended the series with the fact that we found some success on Mystery Lake. And we kind of made the dam our home. And then I stopped the series and I played off camera. So I've done all the bits you're supposed to do, as in I've crafted the wolf skin coat and the deer skin pants and the deer boots and stuff like that. Now it is very foggy. I'm just trying to decide, is that island ahead of us here, is that Jackrabbit Island or not? Not quite sure. In terms of this live stream, I'm doing this as a test as much as anything. I really want to get back, I want to get into streaming much more, but I need to be sure that when I'm streaming it's a good enough quality. Otherwise, yeah, I don't want to be uploading or creating stuff that just isn't good enough. So we're getting very cold. Let's get our clothes back on just for a minute. I think we're pretty much safe inside these fishing huts. So I'm just going to eat a little bit. We are of course going to cook up all this food, but when we get back to base we're still going to have some work to do, because I don't have much in the way of wood ready. So I've checked all this already. So I just want to stay here a second. Just want to make sure that we're warmed up sufficiently and wait for the wolves to kind of give us a clear path home. I do have flares, I think. Yeah, I've got 4 on me. Now the reason I'm carrying all this crap, the hacksaw, the jerry can, tools, the 2 pry bars. This is the final run of our sort of mule run back home. And by that I mean, so we've just come from Mystery Lake. I'm going to do the old close off thing again, just because there are so many wolves. And if you're not sure, the reason I'm doing that with the clothes is because if we are attacked by wolves, you can pretty much be sure that you can defend yourself. However, the wolves will pretty seriously damage your clothes sometimes, and as we're wearing such high value clothing right now, that's really the biggest concern. Ooh, wow, the fog just came in, so we can't really see much anymore. And of course I can't run because I'm carrying 50 kilos of stuff. So this is the return run from Mystery Lake, and I've had to do 2 runs. I've carried so much stuff. I've basically emptied out Mystery Lake completely. So I've stripped it bare. I've taken everything there is to take. You know, even pry bars that aren't of really good quality. I've taken it all. And let me just make sure I'm going the right way. And the reason I've done that is because I'm not planning to return to Mystery Lake until very, very late game, and sort of until we've run out of stuff to do, basically. At this stage, at this stage we we need to get back to Desolation Point next. So I've got all the materials I need to create arrows. So I've crafted a bow already. I've got 2 arrows, as I'm sure you can see. Ha ha ha, rabbits. There we go. I wanted these guys for the mittens. That's the next thing I need to craft. That's ruined, so there's no point even picking it up. I'm going to take these 2 snares. I'm going to come back down for those pelts. I need to drop off all the meat that I've got right now, and then it's worth coming back out to collect wood anyway. And I'll also drop those snares back down. I have enough in the way of deerskin hides and rabbit pelts, so I'll show you my clothing in a minute. Yeah, I'm pretty cold, but that's okay. Get back home first. Get back home, drop the meat off. This is sweet. Sweet, sweet home. Home sweet home. So let's get inside first, and then I'll do the clothing back on. I'll show you what we've got. So we have the wolfskin coat here, incredibly warm, 100% condition, so I pretty much just made it. Got the deerskin boots here, again 100% condition, deerskin pants. So these are the three main things that mean we warm up. I mean, we're at 18 degrees now, we're very warm, everything's pretty good in our world. This is our crafting room, so this is where I'll drop the fresh guts. I'll drop all of these, and I've got the 2 rabbit pelts in here, they're curing nicely. So when I go back down, this is also where I keep craftable items. So I keep the cloth here, I keep the sewing kits here. You can tell I've got a little bit of OCD going on. So I only carry 2 cloth. I just carry enough to do immediate repairs to clothes, and then the idea being that I come back to base to do anything more major. This is the this cabinet here is where I keep all the crafting stuff. So once it's cured, I've got a cured wolf pelt, cured deer hide, cured gut, got feathers for bows, 8 cured birch saplings, that's what we craft the arrow shafts with, and then 2 cured maple saplings, that's what we use to craft the bows. So we can craft 2 bows, and each of these birch saplings leads to 3 arrow shafts, so that's 3 times 8, that's 24, so we've got plus 1, 25. We could do 25 arrows here. Yeah, so as I said, the next thing we need to do is head over to Desolation Point and craft some arrowheads. So I'm going to drop all the meat here. This venison's in pretty bad condition, but once we cook it, it should be okay. And I think I've still got meat in the fridge here. No. Okay. So that's what the next thing we need to do, and that's why I headed out. As well as collecting all the stuff we've got on us, and I'll drop that all now. It's my little tool, I don't know if you can see that. It's my little tool area. I've got 1 hacksaw, I think that's in 100% condition. Got a hatchet that's also in 100% condition. If you're watching this, you just get to see how organised and OCD I am. But actually, in practical terms, I find it really helps to know what I've got and how long it's going to last. So I do keep things very organised, especially because this is the permanent base. And as Coastal Highway is the central point of the entire map, it makes sense for this to be the home, because everywhere we go, we're going to have to always come back and pass through Coastal Highway as we go to different areas. So, and in terms of just choosing this as our base, I like it because it's got easy access to the rabbits, as you saw. So it's easy to drop the snares for them. It's got easy access to the wolves and deer. Yeah. And because you've got, the main thing is the distance you can see, of course. So because you can, because it's on ice and you can see so far, it means that you can herd the deer into the wolves, and you can end up taking down 2 animals with 1 either shot or arrow. And arrows, to be honest, it's all pretty much arrows at this stage. So I've got tons of fuel, I've got 4 spare flares, 2 hacksaws, pry bars, spare hatchet. I've got 10 rounds in our rifle, 20 rounds spare, but I'm not going to use those until the late end game, if I can help it. They're really for major self-defense or taking down a bear. I haven't taken on a bear yet because well, it's hard to do, and I've not needed to do it. I've actually tried to play this game as if I were surviving. I've tried to play this game in the wisest, safest way possible, and I think we've done okay, because if we hadn't played that way, let's put it this way, if we hadn't played that way, there's no way I would have survived this long. There's absolutely no chance at all. Okay, so we're all good for medicine, clothing, food. We don't really have too much of, but that's okay, because I'm going to cook some. I'm going to go back down, drop those snares. Yeah, I've got to think, where am I going to put this stuff, the mushrooms and whatnot? That's medicine, I guess. That's this is my freezer. The freezer is the place for medicine slash goods that are going to last a hell of a long time. So let's transfer all these things over. We can cook those up. They, I think the reishi mushrooms, I forget which one's which. One of them's an antiseptic and one of them's a painkiller. But we can, once we do a fire, we can check that out. So I think that's all our stuff dropped off. I'm keeping the metal and the fir firewood for repairs, of course. I'll just organize the gut. Now with the live stream, it's going to be a little bit different, you know, whereas with the series I've done, I've cut these up into half-hour chunks. With the live stream, it is of course just going to be one long piece of content, and you know, you can't break that up. I think I'm still learning how YouTube does this, but I'm pretty sure they save the whole thing in one big piece. So, you know, if you do want to watch, if you do want to skip ahead, it's kind of more up to you than up to me as to how we cut it up. I'm just going to drop those. I've got 2 snares on me, and it would be good to have more pelts, because I'm going to pick up these 2 that are just behind me. I've got 2 back at base, but it's going to be good to let's just take all of this. Rabbit meat's actually not that calorific. It's not very good. I'm going to take these 2 pelts. That'll be enough for our mittens, but it's also good to have spare pelts, because the pelts that you're using, I mean the pelts that are relevant to the clothing you have, so for example if you have a wolfskin coat, that can only be repaired with wolf pelts, if that makes sense. And the same with deerskin pants. If you want to repair the deerskin pants, you can only do that with deer hides, which kind of makes sense. So it's always worth having some spare pelts for everything you have, and that means in our case, you know, we're talking about the rabbit mittens here. If we want to be able to repair our mittens in future, then we'll need to have spare rabbit pelts, hides. It's getting pretty dark out here. How am I doing? Energy's pretty low. I'm pretty hungry. We may need to just do this burn tomorrow, actually. The meat will last long enough, so we don't need to worry about that. Probably makes sense. Oh shit! Oh, excuse my language. Can you hear that? Oh god. That wolf came from nowhere. Where is he? Can't see him. I'm right by the door. Oh, there he is. See that? He came from nowhere. Just show you. Hello. Let's take a screenshot. Hello, my friend. Cheeky bugger. Right, you are too close to the entrance I'm heading. That scared me a little bit. I'll be honest. Okay, so here you can see just how OCD I am. This is home. I'm going to take a couple of screenshots for my own guilty pleasure. Take another one. This of course doesn't show all the stuff I have in the cabinet here. If I put those out on the floor, you'd see just how much stuff I've collected. So this is pretty late game stuff in terms of, you know, how long I've been playing and what I've achieved. I think I've done pretty well, considering this was a Stalker start and we started on Desolation Point, which is basically the toughest start you can pretty much have. Now, what do we eat? I'm kind of thinking we go for the MRE because it's in the worst condition. It gives us the most calories. It's a full meal because we're going to be pretty hungry by the time we've slept. Let's take all the water we've got left, and then I guess, you know, tomorrow if we take this MRE we can get a proper night's sleep, and then tomorrow we can do a proper burn and cook everything up. And I think I'm not too tired actually, because the other thing I want to do is break down all this stuff. So I want to break down this table, I want to break down this table, there's shelves, but I don't know, maybe I'll do that now. We've got 10 hours of darkness left. 8 hours is usually enough sleep. I'm going to do this in the dark. It takes an hour and a half. So it's worth doing that. Hang on, let me just light this again so you can see. Of course, I turned the I turned the lantern off before I break this stuff down, because otherwise you're wasting fuel. You don't want to be burning your the lantern while you're breaking stuff down, which would just be a complete waste. So even though it's not making such nice streaming footage for you guys, it makes more sense to do it this way. So we're down to 950 calories. Let's have a look. This MRE gives us 1750, and the maximum we can have is 2500. So we need to get down to 750 calories before it's actually worth us eating this in one go. 8 hours of darkness left. I think we'll go have our little kip now. So I'll just do a couple of hours. I'll get our calories down to 750, and then I will. Oh, hey there, Whip Diddy Whip. How you doing? Might want to up it to at least 720p. Yeah, I know it's really low. Basically, there's not much I can do about that. I live in Australia. I live in Melbourne. And I've tested my streaming. Unfortunately, our internet where we live right now is just shocking, and there's really nothing I can do about that at the moment. I've tested the streaming quite a lot, and unfortunately the only way I can get an actual steady stream is to lower the resolution down to 420p, and that's kind of the reason I've not streamed much in the past. So yeah, there's really not much I can do about that. I did try upping the resolution to 720p in the past, and all it meant was really jittery streaming, so I thought it's probably better to go for a regular smooth stream with worse resolution, because then at least it's watchable. I know it's not ideal, but until we move house, which is not too far away, hopefully. We're looking at a house at the moment, and we actually signed our mortgage papers yesterday. It's quite exciting. That's the mortgage application, I mean. Until we have actually moved house, however, there's very, very little I can do about the internet. We live in an area where basically there's a monopoly on the internet, so even if we wanted to, we couldn't go to another provider. There's nothing we can do. This is just what it's like living in our area, unfortunately. So, yeah, there's nothing much more I can say. This is the best we can do in terms of internet, unfortunately. But yeah, so it's like this is just a compromise. Not ideal, and I know it, but I did want to go for at least a smooth stream. At least it's, hopefully the audio's okay, and maybe you could let me know if the audio is okay. That's something I really want to know. Okay, so there we go, there's our 4 rabbit pelts. Thank you for watching though. It's very nice that you've stopped by, and you seem to have been with me for at least 5 minutes, so I guess the stream's not too painful to watch. I just hope you're catching my audio. Maybe you could let me know if you are actually kind of hearing what I'm saying. That would be pretty good. If you're watching this after the fact, I have one person who's watching, and I'm talking to them, because it would be really good for me to get some feedback on this stream and know that actually my audio is working okay, and they're not just watching gameplay without hearing my voice. I'm not listening to my stream, of course, so I don't know what you guys are hearing, and I don't want to stop this midstream just to check. So, who knows? Maybe he's just watching my gameplay. Maybe he can't hear my voice, or maybe I'm too quiet. As I said, this is still pretty much a test. So we're pretty hungry. I reckon it's time to start that fire. We've probably got enough in the way of wood. And we don't want the meat to degrade too much. So what have we got? We've got 16 reclaimed wood and some sticks. That should be enough. That should be okay. Let's take all the let's just take all of it. We'll see how much we can cook. I've no idea really. So here we go. I'm going to start the fire. I'm not going to pick these rose hips, of course, because I'm going to keep those for later in the game. I can break that branch, not that branch, sorry, that limb down. I'm not going to use this accelerant. Now I did hear from someone that you should save all the matches for the end of the game. But and I kind of agree with that, because I've got the fire starter, the metal fire starter. On the other hand, of course... Ah, hello there. Yeah, I hear you. It's a shame in this day and age that internet companies are still in the 20th century. Yes, mate, I know. This is Australia, though. Australia is actually, believe it or not, 44th in the world in terms of internet capability. So... even though it's a rich, developed country, the internet here is absolutely shocking, and it's become a real political issue, and I can go into that another time. So my voice is a little low but hearable. Okay, I will look into the settings to see if I can turn my mic up after this. As long as you can hear me, that's kind of the main thing. Yeah, this is, I've done one test in the past of the streaming, but this is the first time I've really streamed. So you're watching my stream virginity. You're taking my stream virginity. I'm just entertaining myself. Got my rabbit meat first. I'm going to cook that up first. The rabbit meat's the worst. It has the least calories per kilo. So that's what we want to eat first. And then the wolf meat is the next worst, and the venison is the best in terms of how many calories you get. So let's have a look. So 450 calories per kilo, which is pretty low. The venison, on the other hand, you get 800 calories per kilo. I just cooked that piece of venison first because I wanted to make sure, I wanted to see what condition it came back in. As you can see, it's at 32%. I took it off an animal that had been dead for quite a while. So let's, okay, I've eaten both of those. I'm going to do some wolf meat next and then eat some of that. And let's, apart from hunger, we're actually okay in terms of energy and stuff, so let's add some more. I'll keep this fire burning for a while. I need to do some water as well, of course. So let's just burn as much as we can burn. In terms of hints that I've had, one of the big hints is that if you're going to do any cooking or create any water, you should try and do as much of it as you can in one batch as possible. So instead of doing lots of little fires, you should do one big one. Save all the stuff, save your energy, do a massive big cook up. Cooked meat, of course, lasts a very long time. I'm going to take one torch, just one, and I'm just going to kind of keep that in the bag. That is for when we come across wolves next. Because I found that a torch is enough to keep a wolf just at bay, just to stop it attacking you. And if I happen to be surprised by a wolf, I can pull the torch out. I don't want to use a flare at this stage, unless I really have to. But I could pull a torch out. I don't want to brandish the torch, because that leads to really quick exhaustion. You lose all your energy if you do that. So I've made that mistake in the past. So you just pull your torch out, that keeps the wolf at bay. And then I've seen another YouTuber actually drop the torch on the ground, and that keeps the wolf at bay in front of you. And that gives you enough time to draw your bow and fire an arrow into that wolf. So it's it kind of gives you a free shot, just having that torch on you. And of course, torches are, I don't know, I call them free because they're a renewable resource, of course. All you need to do is start a fire to create one. Okay, so we are now full. We slept our first. We've got energy. Oh, the wind's picking up. I think that cuts the time that the campfire can burn if the weather gets worse. That's okay. As long as the weather doesn't turn too bad, we'll still stay out here cooking up. Just try and cook all of this meat. We don't want to let it degrade too much, because this venison's already in really bad condition. It's at 28% now. And cooking it up, of course, gets its condition. Oh bugger. I wasn't paying attention. I shouldn't have let that happen. That was a mistake. Okay, so we've got 3 pieces of venison left. We really should just cook and finish that. So I'm going to go drop this meat, this cooked meat, off in the fridge. We've got 3 hours of daylight left. Maybe I just collect some wood. Let's sort this out. So let's get the venison cooked stuff in the fridge. We kind of almost don't really have enough water to sleep overnight comfortably, so I may need to just do another quick burn. But the main thing we need to do right this second is get some more wood. Because we've only got 5 reclaimed wood left on us. There's no point carrying that, of course, so I'll just drop it all. So I'll check the snares first. I'll just see if... I can see a rabbit down there already. It looks like another one's been ruined. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. So this snare's still intact. That's pretty good. And this one's still intact. I'll just replace it. This snare's ruined. I'll take it just to, you know, do some... to keep the house tidy, as it were. And also to... I think it... I'm not quite sure if it helps their condition by replacing them, but just on the off chance that it does help, I've replaced it anyway, because it takes no effort. The ruined one I've taken just because we can harvest a piece of wood for the fire from that. So let's get this little guy's meat and skin and guts. How you doing, buddy? I'm gonna leave that last 0.1 of a kilo. There's really no point taking it. Rabbits don't give you much in the way of food anyway, in terms of calories anyway, so... And it's dark, I can't see a thing. Let's go home. One hour of daylight left. I'm probably just gonna head back, just because we've not actually killed the wolves around. We've not killed the wolves on this island yet. And I don't really like hanging around outside in the dark when wolves can appear out of nowhere, because it's just that much harder. I can't see a thing. It's that much harder to escape from them. There's all our pelts. I've created a bit of space. I'm going to move the pelts over, just so it's easier to keep track of. So, basically this is our sort of chill time. We're just going to take it easy on this island and wait for these rabbit pelts to cure. And then we're going to do our mittens, and then we're going to head over to Desolation Point and do our arrowheads. In the sort of when I take a little break in a minute to use the loo and what have you, I'll also adjust my my sound settings so that my mic is louder. Thank you for that feedback. Really appreciate it. So, I'm gonna drop those sticks. I'll drop my stuff. This is my burn area. So anything for burning, anything to do with fires, I leave here, because we can only, in this house, we can only do fires outside. Of course, there's no way to burn fires inside the house. So you can see what I mean. This is degrading pretty quick. Meat does degrade really fast until you've cooked it. So let's take our wolf meat. That's the stuff we need to eat first, and we don't have enough water, so we'll probably need one of these cans that we have. Let's take the one that's in worse condition. Got one that's 60%, one that's 61%, so we'll take those first. All the rest is in pretty good nick, so we can keep that there. We don't need to worry about any of that. Anything else we need to do housekeeping wise? Not really. I think we just we head to bed for a minute. Oh yeah, we need to break down our snare. Just harvest that. So that's just giving us one piece of reclaimed wood. We have that one torch. I'll take another torch when we do our next burn tomorrow. Just drop that off. Okay, and that's it. let's get the light out. How we doing? Peckish, and let's eat and drink first. Just do a little basic maintenance. And have a drink. I'm really curious to hear where you are in the world, by the way. Where you're joining me from. Are you in Australia? Are you in the US? Are you in the UK? Are you already a subscriber of mine, or have you just found this stream randomly? It'd be really interesting for me to get some feedback as to how you've come across this, because I do plan to do more streaming in future, of course, and it'd be really good to get this to sort of how can I put it? It'd be really good to hang on, I'm trying to think about the game at the same time as speaking. Of course, I want to improve the streaming and how people find it. So, what did I just pick up? 1 second. I'm trying to pick up these newspaper rolls because I want to use those to start fires. So you can see what I mean about the matches. I don't know if you can see that. I'll start this for you. I've got tons of matches. I've kept the wood matches there because they're the heavier ones. So I've got tons of matches. Matches aren't really an issue at this stage of the game. I've got even more. And I'm keeping the cardboard matches on me because they are the lightest. And this is why I'm not really too bothered about how many matches I've got at this stage. Let's just refuel this while I'm holding it. Just basic maintenance stuff to keep everything maintained as best I can while I'm sort of thinking about it. Okay, that's good enough. How are we doing? Peckish and thirsty. Let's probably a good idea to head out and just cook up some water first, because we've got enough food. Ooh, wow, it's cold. -5. That's cold. That's -5 with the pretty much the best clothes you can get in the game. So let's see what happens if we start a fire, if that warms us up. So I'm going to use these matches, as I was saying. I'm going to use the newspaper roll to start this. This should warm us up enough that we can stay out and keep on burning. We want to have a long day. We want to have a long day just cooking up water, basically, and finishing off the. Oh crap! That failed as well. God damn it! I am, of course, trying not to use the accelerant or anything. I'm using the worst stuff I have. And if the fire fails, it fails. And that's kind of my thinking at this stage. Yeah. I reckon in terms of this stream, I'll let it run to an hour. And then I'll stop, I'll take a little break. You know, need to use the bathroom and all that stuff. And then I'll jump back on. And I'll have tested my settings in the meantime. And hopefully I'll get the sound a little better. Right, so let's just do a little bit of water. Just so that we've got enough to slake our thirst, because we're pretty thirsty. And of course I don't want to use the cans I have on me if I don't have to. And at this stage I don't have to. So let's see if this works. Yeah. So we've got, let's drink. Eat and drink. Let's get our calories up. Yeah, so now we are rested. We've drunk eaten. So now we can carry on. I'll just grab that meat, because we can do that meat now. That meat's nearly gone off. So let's grab that and cook that quickly. And of course I'm going to do as much water as I can do on this particular fire. So in terms of what you're watching, this is real sort of house house maintenance stuff. This is not action. This is not particularly the most interesting necessarily stuff to watch, but it is relaxing. And I do like playing this game because it is that mixture of excitement and relaxation. I do like to jump on the game and just play in a very relaxed way, take it easy. This is a good way of chilling out, doing this kind of maintenance stuff. But you feel like you're still working towards a real objective. And I do kind of think that playing this way it's kind of this sort of stuff where you're maintaining. This is perfect for a what is essentially a streaming test. Because as I said, I didn't really know if this was going to be really good or not. So while I do this sort of maintenance, I thought I'll jump on, or I'll do a stream for you guys. If you want to watch it, you want to watch it. If you don't, then there's nothing really lost. And yeah, I'm working towards doing regular streaming of the games that you really love and that I really enjoy playing. Okay, so we've got 5 litres of water now. We've got meat, and I think we're pretty good. So I can go check those snares again. Let's see what we've got food-wise. So we have rabbit. Let's have a look. Let's eat that right now. We have rabbit. We've got tons of water. Okay, so we're rested, we're full, slaked. Our weight is pretty good. Let's put those cans back in the fridge because we didn't need to use them in the end. So I keep all this stuff. This is all my higher calorie stuff. I keep that for travelling. Because when you're travelling, you don't want to carry too much meat. Meat's really heavy. So I'll pop a couple of litres in the fridge and I'll take some wolf meat. And that means we've got enough water and energy that we can go out and actually do something now. So I'm going to check the snares first, and I'm going to break down some of those limbs. Because before we head off on travels or anything, we do want to make sure we've got tons of water to come back to. We've got another rabbit down there. 2 rabbits, fantastic. They both worked. That's perfect. Let's see if these snares survived. That one did. This one also. Oh, win. Hashtag winning. Is this the one we were... Yeah, that's the one we were looking at earlier. So, let's put these snares back down, and we're just going to use these. I'm going to keep on using them until they are ruined. I'm going to get as much meat, and rabbits are particularly good for their pelts and their guts. So I'm going to use as much of those. I'm going to use the snares until they break down completely. And now that we have enough food and water, we can take our time, break down all the branches and limbs that we find. And yeah, get ready for a big trip, basically. I really like the snares as well because you don't need to faff around trying to shoot rabbits, which I've tried to do many times and is really hard. doable. There's a deer out there. It is doable. I mean, I have hit rabbits before, but it is pretty tough. It really is pretty tough. So let's harvest you. May as well take all the meat while I'm here. And I've got 2 knives, so I'm using the one that's in really bad condition. I've got so many knives back at base that I can just let this one go to ruin. There's no point even trying to fix it up. So I'll take all this meat. I've got 2 hatchets, so I can let one of them get into really bad condition, but I'll always maintain the other at 100%. 4 hours of daylight left. You hear the wind picking up? You have to be really careful with the wind because the wind can damage clothing. So you have to find a balance between staying out. It's a fur limb. Just got to be careful that this weather's not so bad it's going to damage our clothes. 4 hours of daylight. Let's eat and drink. And of course the wolf did come up this way. So that's the other thing we need to be careful of. Especially when we're carrying meat like we are. Let's see if that damaged our clothes. No, it didn't. Okay, good. 3 hours of daylight. I'm just going to drop all this off. That fur limb, we're not going to break that down. I'm going to keep that for repairs because we have 2 pieces of firewood. Fir firewood, sorry, but only 2 pieces of fir firewood, so I'm going to keep the rest. Apologies if you can't really see much in here right now, but I'll turn the light on in just a second. Just want to do the drop the stuff because I know what is where. Okay, I'll turn this on now so you can see. Okay, so got 2 pelts. That's probably going to be enough now. There's no point crafting 2 sets of mitts, but as we have those snares, I mean, why the hell not use them? I'm going to keep on using them until they break down completely. And the guts are actually more useful because, you know, when we come to craft our next bow or whatever, do have some clothing that could do with a bit of a repair. We've got the heavy wool sweater and the toque and the long underwear. I could do with repairing both of those. I've also got this sewing kit that's in really bad condition, so I can just use that up. And yeah, we do one more burn. I guess that's going to be tomorrow now, and we're in really good condition. So it'll be time to go out exploring soon. I reckon we do one more burn tomorrow, so we've got enough water. And then we head over. Actually, we've got quite a lot of water already. Now we'll do some more. I need to do a burn tomorrow to cook up this rabbit meat. We don't really need to hunt. I think we've got enough calories here. And I'm going to head over to Desolation Point. And of course I'm going to take the hacksaw and pry bar and all the extras. So with that in mind, let's just do a little bit of clothes repair. 1, 2, 3. I'll turn the light off for this. Head over to the bedroom so you can still kind of see. This is just basic maintenance again. So you might think this stuff isn't really in a bad enough condition to repair, but I try to keep everything in 100% condition. Just as a sort of, I mean, it gets your skill up, that's one thing, but it also means that you're you're always as warm as you can be, which I think is really important. I've got so many sewing kits that I really don't need to worry about it. Okay. So those mittens, there's no point actually repairing those mittens because we're going to craft the rabbit mittens anyway. I've got 2 hours of daylight. I'm just going to have a quick look outside, see if we can get any wood quickly. If we don't find anything, I'll break down the bench and stuff inside the house. And of course I am still carrying meat, so I've got to watch out for the old wolfies. There's one just ahead of us. Don't know if you can see that with this crappy resolution. Doesn't seem to be much in the way of wood out here, and I'm not going to venture too far. Just check the snares. The snares don't seem to have caught anything yet, so I'll just leave them for tomorrow. Okay, I'll drop the wood we have outside here, and then I'm going to break stuff down inside the house, so we can do our cook up tomorrow. There's no point really doing it right now. I'll break down this bench. I want room in this. I want space in this room rather. And I know this takes quite a while, so I'll have a drink first. There's a part of me that wants to explore a little bit of Mystery Lake before we head over to Desolation Point. Because Desolation Point, if you're just joining us or if you forgot, then Desolation Point's actually where I started this game on Stalker mode. So there's nothing to discover really as such. So you know, it's not going to be as interesting as heading to Pleasant Valley would be, for example. I might just break down one more thing. How long does this take? 2 hours. Yeah, I reckon I'm going to do this. Let's empty this room completely. And then we'll get some sleep, and then we can do our water tomorrow. And then once we've got that water, I think we're good to set off on a little journey. That journey, by the way, does mean that we need to go through Wolf Town, which is going to make things a little interesting. The last time I tried to go to Desolation Point from where we are now, Coastal Highway, I had to shoot and take down a bear. And I nearly died because I shot it once, I shot it twice, then it charged me. And only on the third shot, when it was literally running at me, did I shoot it again, and it finally went down. So I know maybe I just got unlucky with that particular bear at that moment, but yeah, I don't think getting to Desolation Point from where we are, I think it's got some sort of inherent risks. As in, there's a big frickin' bear and he wants to munch on you. And I'll be carrying meat as the primary food source as well, so. Let's have a look. Let's have a look-see. This sewing kit's basically buggered. Let's take another piece of meat for the sleep. So we're getting into the venison now, which is the stuff we want to save for big journeys. It's the highest calorie stuff. So 8 hours rest, get a good sleep. Tomorrow we check our snares, we cook up some more water, and I guess we stay here one more night. We have enough food that we don't need to worry about that. we stay here one more night. And then, excuse me. Just eat this. Here we cook up some more water, and then we're good to go. I want to make sure, of course, that we have enough food and water to come back to, because we don't know what kind of state we'll be in when we get back. You know, we might have had to run. It's pretty bad conditions. So I'm really just careful of the weather when it's really windy, or I've had clothes rip in the wind before. Get torn up in the wind. What's this? Fir limb, another fir limb. We're not going to need that much fir wood for repairs, so I reckon I can break that down and use that for this this fire we're going to build. Just remembered that I should drop all the wood I'm carrying before I do any kind of walkabout. There's no point carrying all this wood just to bring it back up again. So that's enough, yeah, that's enough. I reckon that's fine. Oh, we've got 2 snares here, that's not looking good, they both look ruined. If they are ruined, that's the end of our, yep, that's ruined. That's ruined too. Okay, so that's the end of our rabbit hunting. I'm not going to bother trying to shoot any. But that's fine. We have more than enough pelts anyway, so... It would be nice to kind of hang around long enough to build those mittens before we head off. I do really want to head over to Desolation Point in absolute prime condition. Which makes me think, is it worth doing a little bit of exploring? Or maybe a bit of hunting before we head off? That looks like it's a crow feather down here. It's always worth picking up feathers. I found that once you've got enough arrowheads and enough arrow shafts, it's actually the feathers that are the thing you lack the most. I reckon I might do a quick hunt, just for fun, because we need to. We've got quite a lot of wood. We've got a lot of daylight. We've got enough food, and we're going to do a fire for water anyway. So, as we're waiting for those rabbit pelts to cure, and I'm a little bit bored, to be honest. I think it might be worth just doing a hunt while we're here, because then we'll have more than enough meat, and it gives us something to do as well. So in terms of actually doing that hunt, what I'm going to try and do, of course, is herd a deer towards a wolf, and then I'll take the wolf down, and I'll use bows and arrows to do it. Let's just get this, just grab the stick and we'll break this fir limb down. We're going to use, as I said, we'll use this, this fir limb to burn rather than repair. But I think that is more than enough wood now. So we've got all this stuff, and these 2 tin plugs I'll leave here also. So we're okay for food. Put this meat. I'll leave this meat here. There's no point carrying it with us on a hunt. Maybe I'll take just a very, very small piece to use as a decoy. That's always a good idea. But let's drop it off. So let's leave that. Rabbit meat's pretty crap anyway. We don't like rabbit meat. So let's take the last of our water. We're still very much underweight, so we don't need to worry about that. And yeah, let's do it. Let's go hunt. So there's a deer. That's what we're going to head for. We're going to head for the deer. We're going to herd that towards a wolf, and then we're going to... I picked up those snares, didn't I? I should leave the snares behind. We can break those down before we do the fire. There's no point carrying them. Ruined snares are not worth taking anyway. I'll just drop those. Yeah, everything else we need, and ore is very light. Let's take that all with us. Okay, so there's our deer. It's just, I don't know if you can see it clearly with the resolution being so shit, but it's off to the left of our screen. There are 3 wolves on the right, so that's not where I want to herd the deer to. I want to herd the deer ideally towards a single wolf that's not near anything. So there's one directly ahead of me. So, and there's a deer slightly to the wolf's left. So if I can get to the left of that deer and herd it towards that wolf, I think we're in business. Oh, there's a wolf right there. There's 2 wolves right there. Oh, they're really close. Shit. No, that was close. I think I was just far away enough that they didn't go for me. Okay, so you can kind of see what I'm aiming for. There's this deer here. I'm going to run just to get around him. We don't need to worry too much about energy at this point because we're just so close to home. I'm going to herd this deer towards the wolf ahead of us. There we go. Now that should be enough to trigger the wolf to run. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Yep. And come on, take it down. And down. Okay. So now what we do is we roll the clothes off, take everything off, so that if we do get attacked, we don't lose any condition. And then, here we go. Come on, boy. I want a direct headshot, of course. Oh, just like that. That's always so satisfying. Okay. Oof. Still exciting. Even though that I've done that so many times, it still gets my heart going. I've got to tell you. Okay, now that we've taken it down, do the old clothes back on, which means we're back up to being warm enough. And then just make sure we get a drink. And yeah, then we can harvest that meat. We'll probably take the guts as well, and then we'll head back home. This is going to be enough food. I'm going to leave the pelt just because it would take an extra half an hour to take the pelt, and we have another cured pelt back at home anyway, so there's no point, really no point having two. So this is all about the meat and the guts. You can never have too many guts, I've found, and it's also pretty quick to harvest the guts as opposed to the hide, which takes quite a while. So let's get this lovely venison meat as well. 9.4 kilos, that's more than enough than we're really ever going to need. So after this we've got enough food. We'll do that cook up now. We've got 5 hours of daylight left. Yeah, we've got buckets of tons of meat. So I'm pretty hungry. Let's go back. The weather's picking up as well, so we don't want to stay out if the weather's really bad. So yeah, that was a pretty successful hunt, I think. Quite enjoyable too. I do like taking those boys down. Let's just see if our clothes get damaged now. So we're still okay when the wind's picking up like this. We don't need to worry so much about it. Wind like this does affect the torch that we took from the fire though. if a wolf did confront us, I don't think we'd be able to light a torch in this. We would have to either shoot it or light a flare. Only a flare will burn if it's this windy. So I reckon I'll head back to base. I'm gonna stop the stream at that point, and I'm gonna listen back to it. I'm gonna check the settings and stuff like that. I'm gonna see if I can improve the quality for you guys, and then I'll jump back on and we can carry on. I'm gonna carry on with cooking up our food. I'll cook up our water, and then I reckon we'll do our mittens after that. But the mittens, of course, there is no workbench where we are living right now, so we're going to take the stuff we need to craft with us, and we're going to head over to Wolftown, which is a really dangerous spot. I've been attacked literally just for stepping out of the door of a house in Wolftown before. So it's a really tough place to base yourself, which is why I never go there unless I have to. But to get to Desolation Point, of course, we have to go through Wolftown. So, and yeah, we'll do the mittens on the way through Wolftown. Take that stick, why not? And yeah, we'll also be taking our birch saplings with us, because we can. That's what we'll need to craft our arrows. And we'll take all the crow feathers as well. So let's drop what we can drop. Oh wow, this weather. Let's take the snares because we need to break those down. One stick. So let's get this meat dropped off. 5 hours of daylight. Don't know if it's really worth us doing our fire in this weather or not. Let's drop all this meat off. We've got so much of it now. Look at that, more than we could possibly ever eat. So we don't need to worry about food now. I just need to do a huge cook up. Yeah, pretty hungry and thirsty. In terms of energy, I could just have a couple of coffees, of course. Yeah, so we're in really good condition. We're doing pretty well. I'll drop the guts off here. Can't really see very well. I'm gonna have to use the torch. Have to use the torch for my OCD tendencies, and everything needs to be in order. Here we go. And we don't have any pelts, so we don't need to worry about that. Nah. Okay, mate. Whip diddy whip. I hope you've enjoyed my little episode here. I do hope, of course, that you've not just left your browser open and you have actually watched this. I hope you've enjoyed it. My little stream test, and anyone else who's watched this after the fact, I hope you've enjoyed it too. Thank you very much for joining me, as always. I really appreciate it. And boys, I will see you in the next one. Ciao for now.